Hi, I'm Sophie, and welcome to my world. You know I do a lot of duct taping crafts, and I'm going to teach you something completely different and new today. This time I'm going to use this duct tape, and I'm going to turn it into this yarn flower. Now I know what you're thinking. How are you going to make that duct tape into that flower? Well, you just watch and see. So for this project, we're going to need some scissors. We're going to need push pins. And now I've got my push pins in a couple different colors here. You don't need that. I did this so that you'll be able to see easily how I place the push pins and how I do my yarn. But you don't need to have different colored push pins. You're going to need an end of the roll of your duct tape. Now this is a duct tape roll that's got a couple more wraps to do on this, but this is an end of the roll project. You want to make sure that you still have a little bit of the duct tape there, and you'll see why in just a second. And then you're going to need two colors of yarn. I've got yellow and I've got this kind of fun mixed colors of blue and pinks and stuff. So I've got my two colors of yarn. Now this can be done as a hair tie, a hair barrette, whatever. So I have a hair scrunchie here, just a hair elastic that I'm going to be tying my finished flower onto. So I can just show you how to do that, but you don't have to have this because you can just make flowers if you like. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do, we are going to make our weaving loom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these push pins, just be careful because they are pointy, and I'm going to aim to put the push pin point, say that 6 times, push pin point, right in between the cardboard and the tape, right there. And it just slides right on in. Then I'm going to take a push pin. I've got the same colored one here so you can see, and you're going to put it exactly opposite. So if this was a clock, this would be 12 o'clock and this would be 6 o'clock. And I just push it in, and I'm just pushing it in between that layer of tape and the layer of cardboard. Now I'm going to take another color of my push pin just so you can see, and I'm going to place this at what would be 3 o'clock. And at 9 o'clock. So I've created a diamond basically. Boom, 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 boom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place push pins in between, right in the middle, between these guys, between the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9. I'm going to use the same colors again, opposites of each other, so that we can see easily. They're blue, and this one's going to be right over here. The pink is going to go right here, and this pink is going to go right here. Okay, so now I've got 8 push pins all the way around, just like you would cut a pizza pie into 8 wedges. So I'm going to be using my yellow to make the base of my flower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the yellow, if you have like a big spool of yarn like this, or skein, a skein of yarn. If you have a big skein of yarn like this, just leave it in the skein so you can pull it out. If you don't and you need to measure out how much yarn you're going to need, I would say you want about 5 yards of yarn. But I'm going to take this yarn and I'm going to basically tie a little knot right here. So I've got myself, I wrapped it around the top peg here and the next peg, which is the bottom one, exactly opposite of it. So that's the 12 and the 6 o'clock. I take this and I'm going to tie a knot. Now, if you haven't tied a knot before, what you do is you take your string, you take it over, the loose end goes over, under, and pull. And I'm going to repeat this step again. I go over, through that hole there, and pull. And that gives me my knot. Now, I'm going to trim this little piece because I don't need this extra. And what I'm going to do is move my knot right to the center. Okay, see how my string is facing up? Here's all I do. I go wrap it around once around the peg, and then at the opposite peg I wrap it around once. That's one whole wrap. Now I'm going to go around twice. And one more time, 3 times. Now, when I come to the center this time, I'm going to turn my whole loom 1/4 turn to the right. And now I'm going to go to this peg here, which is in between this was the 12, this was the 9, so this is in between the 12 and the 9. So I'm going to go 1, and then I go around twice, 3 times, and turn. Once, twice, 3 times, and turn. Once, twice, 3 times, and turn. Okay, now I'm back to the beginning. I'm going to push these all down just a little bit, and I'm going to come back and do it one more time all the way around. So 1, and turn. Oop. Go around. There we go. And 1, and turn. 1, turn. 1, and turn. This is just a finishing it off. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is give myself about a foot extra. Snip this off here. I'm going to, whoop, get that run again. It kind of looks like a star or a snowflake. So I'm going to pull this to the center. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of string and put it down the opposite end here in that little hole. Pull it down. Got my finger here keeping it from pulling up. And I'm just going to bring it up on the opposite side. So it went down here, it's going to come out here. Opposite hole. And I'm just going to pull it up, and I'm just going to tie this with a single little knot. So I'm just going to tie it. Don't get worried if it's not perfectly in the center, that's okay. So I just tied it once, and then I'm going to slip it under one more time here. Just right under there. Through it. Okay, and you're just loosely tying that off. Now leave that off to the side here. Now what I need is about a yard, about that much, about a yard. Usually what I do is I measure from my fingertip to my shoulder. And I'm going to snip that here. Now what I need is a little tiny piece of tape. So this is why this is great to have my tape right here. I'm just going to take a little piece off. And this is going to help me as I'm wrapping. So I'm just going to take this end here, and I'm going to put the tape on the end here to keep it together and keep it so it doesn't fray and to make it just easier to see. So I'm just wrapping a little piece of tape around one end. Okay, see that? Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is take this end, and I'm going to put it down any hole, doesn't matter which one I go down, and pull it through. And I still want to leave about, oh, what is that, maybe 6 inches. Okay, so leave 6 inches on that side, and then I'm going to come up with that little piece of taped end on the opposite side. So now I can lift it up like this, right? All right, I want to pull this, and all I want to do is tie it. Once and twice. Now what I want to do is take this yellow end, this piece that I tied off, and I want to tie it to that free end, to that tiny short free end. And again, I always tie it twice, just to make sure it's nice and secure. Leave your short end of colored, this one, the one that we're going to be using to wrap the centerpiece, leave that little piece, snip off that yellow. You don't need that yellow anymore. All right, now here's where it gets fun. So this little piece we're just going to kind of leave off to the side. Now we're going to start making our center. And to make our center, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. All you're going to do is go up and down these holes, up and down. So what I like to do is go a couple times through the same one. So if you can see, I went up and down between these two, the purple and the blue peg, a couple times here. I'm going to do it 3 times. This will be my 4th time. And now I'm just going to twist it, turn it 1/4 turn, and go on the next one. And again, I'm going to just do this. This is really, you don't have to do it 4 times. You can do it 3 times. You can do it 2 times. It really doesn't matter. All you're going to do is wrap this center part. And you want to just shift the hole every 3 or 4 wraps. And you always want to just keep going through a hole. See that? Always going through a hole, popping it up again. And if you want to, I mean, you can just do 1 wrap per hole, but you do want to make sure that you're getting a nice set of wrappings around that center, because that's going to be the center of your flower. You just keep making sure that you're always going opposite. So you're always going to the opposite hole. So this one to this one, always going across. So you're always crossing over. Now, once you get to the point where you have about, 4 or 5 inches left, you're going to just tie it off. And that's why we left this little piece here, because you want to have a nice solid tie off. And I like to actually tie this last one off really tight. And I usually do 3 ties, just to make sure it's nice and tight. Now, I'm going to leave this because I'm actually going to attach this to a hair tie. But at this point, if you wanted to, if you were going to glue your flower to something and you didn't want to have the string, you could snip your string. Now, to remove the flower, and this is why we use the push pins and we use the duct tape roll, all I'm going to do is pull out my pin. Now be careful, again, this is sharp. Pull out the pin, pull out the pin. By the time you get to the 4th one, the whole thing should release. So you just pull off your little flower petals like that. And you flip it over, and there you've got your flower. Now I'm going to tie my flower to a hair tie. So I've got my hair tie. And all I'm going to do is take my hair tie, lay it down, and tie it off. And you can tie this off again. You want to tie it off maybe 3 or 4 times. Just to make sure it's nice and tied on there tight. Now you could, if you wanted to, tie this to a barrette or glue it to a barrette. You could tie it to a headband. It's really up to you. Right now they can become embellishments for whatever you want. Okay, I'm just going to snip off that extra because I don't need it anymore. It's nice and tight and tied. Put these off to the side. Next time I want to make my form again, I can. And there it is. And that's how you turn a duct tape roll into a yarn flower. Now remember, you can tie these together to make like a long chain of them and make maybe a scarf. You can use these to embellish purses or clothes or hair ties like I showed you. You can do all kinds of things with these flowers. Even just put them on pretty packages and give them away as gifts. For more fun ideas using yarn, duct tape, and other things, come and check us out at Sophie-World.com.